French women over 60 have known for decades which skirt length ages you most. And it is not the color, it is not the fit, it is the length. Specifically, anything that ends below the knee. There is a length of skirt hanging in most women's wardrobes right now that is aging them more than anything else they own, and most women in mature fashion have never been told why. French women over 60 figured this out a long time ago, not from a magazine, from understanding one piece of geometry that the fashion industry has quietly applied since Cristóbal Balenciaga spent the 1950s mapping exactly how the mature female silhouette changes decade by decade. While Dior was reshaping the waistline with the new look, Balenciaga was documenting something more precise, the exact points on the leg where a hem creates length and the points where it destroys it. His ateliers documented it, his cutters applied it, and the rule they arrived at still holds today. Below the knee is the single most aging skirt length for a woman over 60. Not because it is immodest to go shorter, because of where it bisects the leg. The hem lands at the widest point of the calf on most women over 60, cutting the lower leg in half and making both sections appear shorter and heavier than they are. The eye reads that as heaviness rather than length. French women know this. So the 4 skirts they own, what amounts to a considered capsule wardrobe built entirely around body proportion, all stop somewhere else, each one at a different point, for a different reason. Between them, they cover every occasion, every season, and every proportion challenge that comes with age. These are the 4. Number 4 is the linen A-line, and it sits exactly at the kneecap. Not 2 inches below it, not floating above it, at it. This is not an accident. The kneecap is the one fixed bony point on the lower body that reads as a visual anchor regardless of weight or leg shape. A hem that lands here creates a clean horizontal line at a point the eye recognizes as structure rather than mass. The leg below the kneecap is its narrowest self. The eye reads it as length. French women have worn the linen A-line at this length every summer for decades. The fabric does specific work. Linen has a natural weight that causes the skirt to skim rather than cling, and a subtle texture that diffuses light across the hip rather than catching it in one place. On a mature figure, that diffusion matters more than most women realize. It is the difference between a skirt that flatters and one that simply fits. The A-line cut widens from the waist at a controlled angle. Not a full circle, not a pencil. A measured flare that adds visual volume at the hem rather than at the hip. The eye follows the diagonal line outward and downward, which creates the impression of a longer, leaner silhouette. The colors French women choose for this skirt never vary much: ecru, stone, or navy. Occasionally olive. Never white, which flattens in direct sun and reads as casual in a way linen already risks. The A-line earns its place by being the most effortless skirt they own. It pairs with everything and requires nothing. Number 3 sits 2 to 3 inches above the knee, and it is the one most women over 60 have been told to avoid. That advice is wrong, and French women have always known it. The wrap skirt is the only skirt on this list that is adjustable by design. The tie sits at the natural waist, which is almost always the narrowest point on a woman's body regardless of age. Every French woman knows this. You always anchor at the narrowest point. The wrap does it automatically, and the diagonal closure creates a line from waist to hip that moves the eye across the body rather than straight down it. 2 to 3 inches above the knee exposes the narrowest section of the lower leg, not the calf, which is where the below-the-knee length makes its mistake. The lower leg between the knee and the ankle reads as lean because it is. Showing it is not a question of age appropriateness. It is a question of visual proportion, and the proportion is correct. French women over 60 wear the above-the-knee wrap in summer fabrics, cotton voile, silk crepe, or a light viscose that moves when they walk. The movement is not decorative. It keeps the hem from sitting flat against the body, which would add visual weight. A skirt that moves reads as lighter than one that does not. The wrap length also solves the one problem every other skirt on this list does not fully address. It flatters a changing waistline without requiring tailoring. The tie cinches at exactly the point the wearer chooses each morning. That flexibility is not a concession. It is intelligence. Number 2 is the skirt French women wear when they need to mean business, and it sits just above the knee in a fabric that holds its shape, regardless of what the day asks of it. Ponte di Roma is a double-knit fabric, Italian in origin, that behaves like suiting without the weight. It does not crease on a plane, does not shift during a long lunch, and does not lose its line by 3 in the afternoon. French women discovered this fabric a long time ago and have not replaced it. It is the reason their straight skirts always look fresh. The cut is unforgiving in all the right ways. A straight skirt in Ponte di Roma follows the body's actual line from waist to hem. It does not add volume and it does not subtract it. What it does is define the silhouette clearly, which is why the hem length matters even more here than on the A-line or the wrap. Just above the knee means the knee joint is visible, breaking the line of the leg at its widest and most defined point. The visual result is height. French women pair this skirt with a tucked-in blouse and low heels. Never trainers, which contradict the structure of the fabric. Never a blouson top worn outside, which hides the waistline the skirt is working to define. The pairing is deliberate. Every piece of the outfit points in the same direction. In autumn, they buy it in charcoal or tobacco. In spring, cream or dusty rose. In winter, black. They own 1 or 2 at most. They do not need more because the skirt is doing most of the work without any help. Number 1 is the skirt that appears to break the rule, and it is the most misunderstood skirt on this list. The pleated midi sits at mid-calf, not just below the knee. Mid-calf, which is a completely different hemline and operates on completely different geometry. The problem with below the knee is specifically the 2 to 4 inch zone that bisects the widest part of the calf. The pleated midi skips past that zone entirely. It lands below the calf's widest point, in the section of the leg that is already narrowing toward the ankle. The eye reads the narrowing, not the width. Balenciaga understood this distinction better than any other couturier of the 20th century. His mid-calf lengths from the 1950s and the 1960s were all designed to avoid the problem zone and land in the narrowing section below it. French women absorbed this logic. It is why the pleated midi has never left their wardrobes. The pleats are essential, not decorative. An unpleated midi in a stiff fabric adds mass. A pleated midi in a fabric with natural movement, such as wool crepe, silk, or a quality woven blend that drapes, creates vertical lines that draw the eye down the length of the skirt. Vertical movement is always the goal. It is what makes the silhouette read as tall. French women over 60 wear the pleated midi in autumn and winter, paired with a fine knit tucked in at the waist. They choose the hem length once, have it altered if necessary, and never question it again. The skirt is the longest piece they own. It is also the most elegant. Both things are true because of where it stops. 4 skirts. A linen A-line at the knee, a wrap above it, a ponte di Roma straight just above it, and a pleated midi that clears the problem zone entirely by going past it. A capsule wardrobe built not around trends but around body proportion and the geometry of the mature female silhouette. Every length deliberate, every fabric chosen for what it does to a mature figure, not for how it looks on a hanger. The skirts French women over 60 do not own are the ones the fashion industry spent 40 years telling them to wear. The just below the knee length that lands at the worst possible point. The loose style that skims the widest part of the calf and makes the whole leg read as heavy. They heard the advice. They looked at the geometry. They chose differently. You now have the same information they have. If you found this useful, the subscribe button is right below this video. There is a lot more on this channel about what French women over 60 actually wear, why they wear it, and what the rest of the fashion world consistently gets wrong about dressing well after 60.